AI is transforming how software testing works. But using AI tools is not the same as using them professionally. The ISTQB Certified Tester Testing with Generative AI certification defines the structured, internationally recognized standard for applying generative AI in testing. It validates your ability to engineer effective prompts, evaluate AI outputs, enhance automation, and integrate AI into real testing workflows. This is more than experimentation. It is professional competence. Stand out. Prove your expertise. Get certified in testing with generative AI.
Greetings from ISTQB. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for tuning in with us on the FOQ Testing Summit, the ISTQB track. And after an interesting session with the president of ISTQB, who has enlightened us about the CTAI 2.0, we now have the pleasure to host Dr. Abbas Ahmad, who will be with us, walking us through the generative AI and how it impacts the world of testing. So Abbas is also the product owner of the certification from ISTQB CT GenAI, and he will be talking about learning software testing with generative AI, opportunity or illusion. That's an interesting title that you have there, Dr. Abbas. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Loveless. Thank you for the opportunity to give this talk at this really interesting and testing summit. And I wanted to start my talk with saying that this presentation is going to be a complement on what the president of the ISTQB just presented in the talk before. So she presented a CTAI, how do we test systems that have AI components integrated to it. And now we are going to another topic, which is using those systems in order to learn software testing. So the topic of today is we are going to have an ISTQB perspective on how do I use generative AI to learn software testing, and we are going to speak a little bit later on how do I use generative AI for my test activities. And the idea of today's talk is just really to raise the awareness on what can I use generative AI, or more precisely, how can I use generative AI in order to learn and upskill myself in the software testing activities. And we are going to see some of the risks involved in using generative AI. And those risks you are going to see are not only limited to learning with software testing, but they are risks which are a broader problem in using generative AI in general. We are going to stay basically within the perspective of the ISTQB, as it's our main testing standard that we follow, and I am contributing so to the ISTQB as the content the product owner of the ISTQB CT GenAI syllabus. We are a team of 5 authors writing this. So is learning with software testing with generative AI an opportunity or an illusion? First of all, I wanted to explore what can be done with generative AI. So how do people use it? We mainly use generative AI because we want to go faster. We want to produce code faster. We want to produce test cases faster. We want to have a better coverage of our application. We want the AI to give us test cases, edge test cases that we didn't even think about. We wanted, that's the main goal when I ask testers around the world, why do you use generative AI? Or what do you expect from generative AI? And the main answer is, I want to go faster. I want the AI or the model to give me answers so I can finish the task that I have for the day, for the week, for the sprint, for the iteration or the increment. I want to go faster. But when we are speaking about learning, and that's the main that's the main topic of the ISTQB, we produce syllabuses for software tester. So we have two kind of testers. We have the testers which are seasoned testers, and they just want a certification in order to have the certificate to certify that they know what they are doing. And you have the junior software testers who want to learn from the syllabuses and the standard, what are the best practices, how, what is the standard. So in certification, using generative AI, it's going to be, maybe you are going to learn faster, but speed is not enough when you want to learn. Accuracy really matters in this topic. And why are junior developers opening up a chatbot and asking questions in order to learn? So we don't see only this in the software testing field, but you see this in schools, in universities. A lot of students are opening up chatbots and asking questions to the LLMs in order to learn a certain topic. And the idea really that comes out is that it's the way that the AI can summarize difficult concepts. So it will give you the concepts in simple words. You can ask it to explain it with a certain persona. You can prompt an AI to explain to me as if I was a 12-year-old child, and it will explain the concepts in really simple words that makes it understandable. I will have a demo in a few minutes. The generative AI would be able to create examples to illustrate certain concepts. It will be able to create quizzes um, and summarize it, so you can test your skills or your knowledge if you have memorized certain part of the syllabus or text. And it really acts as your personal tutor at any time of the day. We have many ways of communicating with a chatbot. Some years ago, it was only by text, but today you can send screenshots to an AI. You can send it some videos, files. You can speak to it. I have seen I've seen many interesting use cases. I take the example of ChatGPT that has a mobile application where you can give it access to the camera, and you can speak to it, and you can ask it to explain to me the concept that I'm showing you in my textbook. It can be a physical textbook. You don't even need anymore to scan the page or the paper that you are reading from in order to transmit it to the AI. So you have a really ease of access. That it's available all the time, and it's beneficial for the people that are using. They see it really as a way to have access to knowledge and to learn faster than ever before. And I don't want to say all the answers of the AI that it gives you are confident, but something near 99% of the answers that an AI, that a model will respond to you or reply to you, can sound really confident. Even when it's lying to you. And this is a real problem in using generative AI to learn. Because when you are learning and you consider a generative AI model, so you consider the AI to be your tutor, you don't expect your tutor to tell you wrong things. If you are an experienced tester and you ask the AI to generate some test cases for you and you have the experience to spot the wrong answers or the wrong test cases, or if you're asking it to create, for example, a test script for you, you can see what's wrong if you have experience. But when we are speaking about learning specifically with generative AI for the more junior students, they can experience what we call hallucinations. So the AI will respond and it will give you wrong information confidently. It will, I have an example just after that. It will give you wrong answer confidently, but the student will not be able to spot it because he's trusting the system to teach him. He's trusting the system to give him an answer. Let me show you a real concrete example with asking an LLM about what are the test types in ISTQB Certified Tester Foundation Level version 4.0. So let's go to a chatbot. I'm using Arena AI, which is one of the many available chatbots out there. We're going to ask a French model. That's really the state of the art of French models. It's Mistral. And we are going to ask it to give us or list the test types. So I'm going to remove the double test here. So according to the ISTQB Certified Tester Foundation Level version 4.0, what are the test types? And a small reminder, if you have forgotten, in ISTQB Foundation Level, we define 5 test levels, which are component testing, component integration testing, system integration testing, and acceptance testing. So those are test levels. Then you have test type, 4 test types, which are stated in the syllabus version 4.0. And then, of course, we have the test techniques, which apply to test types that applies to test levels. So let's ask this AI model for the test types. And this model is responding with, for example, other test types. That's just one of the examples. Smoke testing, sanity testing, alpha beta testing, exploratory testing. I've seen change related testing. So change related testing, and if I am a student, I will take this as a face value, and it is telling me that according to the syllabus, the version 4.0 foundation level syllabus, test types are categorized based on the test objective and test levels. And it's telling me confidently that here are the key test types defined in the syllabus. But if I go to the syllabus and check what are the test types that are addressed in the foundation level, I can see that it only lists 4 test types: functional testing, non-functional, black box, and white box. So this is what we call a really common hallucination, So the AI will give a wrong answer. And why does this matter? Because learning ISTQB in order to pass a certification, uh, it's structured. So it's not free learning, and you don't just learn whatever there is on the internet. ISTQB will give you a syllabus. In the syllabus, you will find learning objectives. You have really specific learning objectives that you will be examined on. You have knowledge levels, so K levels, which are based on the Bloom's taxonomy. You have questions which will demand you to remember certain terms. Then you have questions which will test your capability to understand or explain some ideas. Then questions that will ask you to apply certain concepts. You have different knowledge levels. You have really specific glossary term, and you have to be careful because those generative AI models are usually trained on large data sets that are coming from the internet, and you, it's not taking the terms that are standardized in ICB. Maybe you are using terms that means something different in your organization than what the ISTQB is proposing or using. So in order to prepare correctly, you have to stay aligned with the official ISTQB material. And I'm giving an ISTQB perspective, but I think you can extrapolate to any other type of learning with this presentation. So the correct role of generative AI in learning software testing, you should remember that it's not the source of truth. Generative AI should not replace the syllabus. It should help you understand the syllabus, and I'm going to show you how you can do that. So how we can use effectively generative AI to understand, but remember the key message here is that artificial intelligence is not the authority. It's an assistant that will use ISTQB concepts. You can use generative AI in order to learn about test management, test techniques, defect management, any software related topic. But of course, you need a way to link this processing power, which is generative AI, the power that it can explain ideas, generate test cases, generate questions, and so on. You need to leverage this capacity with a way to give it the correct information. And another way, it's because we are communicating with a generative AI. Another really important way is how you ask the questions to the generative AI. How do I ask it question? What is the correct way? I've seen a lot of people opening a chatbot and sending really weak prompts like explain what is testing or explain white box testing. Just really 3 words and not stating from which source it should get the information, not giving it the source of truth. You will get whatever response that the model will have at its disposal. So you have to remember generative AI by nature, they are systems which are non-deterministic and probabilistic. If you don't construct specific prompts which are focused and grounded in text, you will not have a good answer, or you will get an answer which is wrong. And we have seen that some of the answers can be quite convincing, and if you don't know how to spot the mistakes, you are going to learn wrong things. So basically, what I've just said is that generative AI is not your teacher. It's not the syllabus, it's not the standard, and absolutely not the examiner. It is an accelerator. It's going to be able to summarize, explain, propose ways for you to learn, but you have to ground it in the source of truth, which is here official ISTQB sources. And one way to do that, it's not the only way, but one way which I want to present today is retrieval augmented generation, RAG. So what is RAG? It's a way to join basically knowledge to the AI, and we want the model to only take this knowledge from the knowledge database. That's what it's called. So you give it a knowledge database, you give it documents, text, pictures. Doesn't really matter the format of the documents, but you add, it's like joining knowledge and asking the AI to only retrieve the knowledge from this new knowledge database that you're joining to your prompt. So we have a question, we ask an AI, it will go retrieve material and give you an answer. And I wanted to show you this generative AI with RAG, retrieval augmented generation, with a tool called Notebook LM. So it's developed by Google. If you have a Google account, it's free of use. You just need to connect with your Google account. And I wanted to show you what are the different capabilities of. It's really one of the best retrieval augmented generation tools out there in the market. Even then, maybe you can spot it on the bottom of the screen. It says that Notebook LM can be inaccurate. Please double check its responses. So even with RAG, we still have an LLM or a model responding to you, and because of the nature that it's probabilistic nature and non-deterministic, it can still make mistakes. But one way to reduce the mistakes, the hallucination, is really to ground it in knowledge. So in this application, I uploaded the Certified Tester Foundation Level syllabus version 4 PDF, so the syllabus, and I can come and ask it the same question, the question that we asked the other model before. And here, as it's a Google product, it's going to ask Gemini. So we are going to ask it about the different test types. And this time, it's going to consult my sources. So consulting your sources, define the test type, and it will spit out the different test types. So according to the syllabus, many test types exist, but the syllabus addresses the following 4: functional testing, non-functional testing, black box testing, and white box testing. So now I'm pretty sure that it's giving me the correct answer because I have the knowledge, but I can go and check. I can double check because it will tell me from which part of the syllabus it got the answer. I can really check from where this information was retrieved. And other capabilities of those kinds of tools, as we said, so I can use those kind of tools to create for me quizzes. It will create for me questions which are grounded in the knowledge in the syllabus and not from its training data. For example, here it's asking me a question: according to the ISTQB syllabus, how does the primary goal of debugging differs from the goal of dynamic testing? Let me answer like that, and it will tell me why, and I can ask it to explain, and the explanation would be grounded in the knowledge that it is given, so the syllabus. And other capabilities is creating flashcards for you to learn. And what is the primary purpose of software testing regarding scale? I can see the answer, and if again I don't understand it, I can ask it to explain, and I can mark if I did it correctly or not. And we can go further. I can I can hear an audio overview, so it will create a really big podcast. Here is 17 minutes, and you can hear the AI discuss about the syllabus if you are more of a person who likes to learn while listening. And even go further, it can create mind maps of the syllabus. So here it will take just some minutes to create, and you will be able to explore the different contents of the syllabus. So here it has created the mind map, and I can explore the different chapters of the syllabus and click on a certain topic in order to learn more about it. That's really the uh, the beautiful aspects of generative AI, and because it is grounded in the knowledge, and that's really important. So in this presentation, I've showed you one risk of using generative AI, one way to mitigate or to reduce that risk, but you have a lot of different risks. And we didn't go deep into how do I prompt uh, generative AI in order to reduce further the risks. And I would leave this to well, that's the transition to present to you the certification that ISTQB proposes. So testing with generative AI. So ISTQB positions CT GenAI around practical use of large language models, prompt engineering, but not also. So we also have risk management and AI supported testing activities. How do I effectively prompt an AI? What are the risks? How do I mitigate them? And how do I integrate? How do I deploy generative AI in my day-to-day activities? Uh, I encourage you to download the syllabus, read it, have a try at the certification. It's a really interesting one. We have updated it really recently in order to add the new developments of generative AI in the field of agentic AI. We have added some sections about how to use AI agents where you don't need anymore to prompt it. It's a different way of using generative AI, and you define goals that you want to achieve, and the GenAI will find a way to achieve those goals without really prompting step by step. You have less manual work, but this is a topic for another time. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to present. And you have my Skills Club credential wallet. Don't hesitate to go check the different certifications that I have. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Abbas. Thank you for walking us through the syllabus and also what is also possible with generative AI, especially on how you could use generative AI for learning, self-study, as well on ISTQB portfolio. The hallucination part was quite interesting to see how sometimes those technology actually misguide us when asking for information. Let's see now from our audience if we have any question. All right, the first one is flowing in. From your experience, what kind of mindset should testers develop to use generative AI responsibly instead of simply trusting the tool?
That's a really interesting question, and I think the correct word for the mindset would be to have a critical mindset about generative AI, and it's a new tool that is emerging, so it's really recent. It has been around for less than 6-7 years, and being used effectively for the last 4 years. I would say you should be really critical about it, and unless you really know what you are doing, always ask yourself, is it correct or not? That's the idea behind it. So have a really critical mindset. Don't be close to it. So of course we don't want to slow the evolution, the technology. We don't want to be a barrier to technology adoption, but we need to be careful. That's the idea behind it.
Definitely, I fully agree with you. To cross-check the information given.
Yes, cross check it and be eager to learn, and that's it.
All right, perfect. Let's move to another question. Do you think generative AI will change how future testers learn software testing, or will it mainly change how they practice and apply it?
Ah, that's a tricky question because I see a future where generative AI would be able to get rid of testers, if I can say that. But and I think a lot of companies and are working towards that with agentic AI, where we define goals to a model, to a generative, to an agent, and it will find ways to reach it. So we are not there yet where we can get rid of the testers today, but we see a real need of more and more advanced or seasoned tester in order to teach. So really, we were speaking about learning from generative AI, but we need to teach it. So that's why we call it machine learning. So we need to tell it how to do correctly the steps. So I see that future tester would be able to have more correct teaching. So it's really a loop. I will see that experienced tester will teach new agentic systems to do software testing, and those AI agentic system would be able to teach the new testers that are still starting to learn about software testing. But I really don't think it will replace us anytime soon. We really are needed for now. It changes the way that we work, yes, because we can go faster, but always in a controlled environment.
Perfect. Okay, that sum it quite well. We don't have any further question, so I would like just to remind our audience where you can find material for generative AI from ISTQB. So it's istqb.org, and from the header you will see that there is an option for certification. When you click on it, then you scroll down, you search for testing with generative AI. When you click on it, you get the syllabus, the sample paper, and also the answer to the questions in the sample paper, where you can correct it by yourself to prepare for the exam. So all these material are available for free, so make the most of these resources. And Dr. Abbas, thank you again. It was a pleasure having you. And to our audience, please stay tuned. We do still have some sessions ahead of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Generative AI is transforming how software testing works. But using AI tools is not the same as using them professionally. The ISTQB Certified Tester Testing with Generative AI certification defines the structured, internationally recognized standard for applying generative AI in testing. It validates your ability to engineer effective prompts, evaluate AI outputs, enhance automation, and integrate AI into real testing workflows. This is more than experimentation. It is professional competence. Stand out. Prove your expertise. Get certified in testing with generative AI.